So I'm hoping that as we begin our conversation about organization, if I can provide you with a couple of reasons for why it's good to be organized, I think that would give us the incentive to go ahead and take the couple of extra steps that it will so that we can be better organized. So let's start with that in mind. Why is it good to be organized as a speaker? First of all, it has to do with the consequences. And you can actually help me think through this. If you think back to a speaker that you heard that was not very well organized, I would imagine that it probably seemed like they didn't really know what they were talking about. It may have seemed like they lacked credibility. That would have made it difficult for you to follow and to stay interested in what they were saying. And ultimately, you probably didn't get very much from that speaker. On the other hand, if you reflect back on a speaker who was well organized, I would imagine that you experienced a lot of the opposite types of feelings. So, in other words, you probably felt like the speaker was very competent. That probably made it easy for you to stay engaged and easy to follow them. And ultimately, that probably resulted in being able to better understand them. And all of that would increase their credibility. So, when it comes to consequences, basically what that suggests is that if we're disorganized as speakers, most likely we'll have negative consequences. On the other hand, if we are well organized, we'll most likely have positive consequences. A second reason for why it's good to be organized has to do with information processing. The brain's primary function is to make sense of any and everything that it encounters. In fact, doctors tell us that before we're even born, while we're still in the womb, we're trying to make sense of the world around us. So that's how important it is for the brain to make sense of everything. As an audience member, what we're trying to do just as well is to make sense of a speaker. So whatever it is that they're trying to get across to us, then our audience members are constantly trying to understand that. Think about it like we would a Rubik's Cube. So if I handed you a Rubik's Cube that looked like this, it looks kind of chaotic. There's different colors all over the place. It's hard to make sense of it. So it would probably be kind of difficult to answer basic questions about it. So as far as how many different colors are on the cube, how many cubes of each color are there, it would be difficult to answer just very basic questions like that. On the other hand, if I gave you a cube that looked like this one, you can look at it and immediately tell that and immediately tell how many different colors there are, and you could probably even tell me how many cubes of each color there are as well. We could take it a step further, and if you laid the cube out flat, you could easily tell all the different colors and exactly how many there are of each. And you could even tell the total amount of cubes itself. All kinds of information becomes very easily available the better organized it is. So as a speaker, our job is to do what we would with a Rubik's Cube. We take the information and we try to rearrange it in such a way that it's easy for our audience to make sense of it. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't be creative. But what it does mean is that we never ever want to sacrifice organization for creativity. So once again, if we go back to our original question, why is it good to be organized as a speaker? It all goes back to two things: consequences and information processing.